Okay, so for the next set of notes, we're on page 217 in the notebook, and we're working on a special type of proportion called a percent proportion. So let's check this out. It says in a percent proportion, one ratio compares a part of a quantity to the whole quantity. The other ratio shows the equivalent percent written as a fraction over 100. So you're comparing quantities to percents. So depending on the wording in the problem, you may find the following two formulas beneficial, and we're going to fill those in right now. The first formula is known as the is over of, and you may have heard this before. And the word, it's just the word is over the word of equals percent over 100. The other formula that we're going to use with some of these word problems is part over whole. And on the right, it's going to be the same thing, percent over 100. Okay, so when we look at these problems, so let's look at this first one. So remember, we're using is over, on the first ones, you can see the is and the of in the question. When you look at the first problem, we're going to identify the is. So here's the is, and here's the of. And then the thing that we don't know is the percent. That's what we're missing. So when we set this up, the is going to be 18 over the of is going to be 40. We don't know the percent, so that's going to be the x. Whenever you see what or find or whatever, that's the x, and then over 100. You will always have 100 in these equations. That will always be there. It just depends, do you have the is, the of, or the percent to figure out the rest. So now you're just solving a proportion, which you all are good at. So you're just going to do your cross products. 40x equals 18 times 100, which is 1800. And when you solve that, you're going to divide both sides by 40, and you're going to get x equals 45. But you're going to be really careful because they wanted to know the percent. So you better make sure that you are writing 45%. Okay, that's the answer. No percent, you're probably not going to get credit. Okay, number two. So this one says, what percent of 75 is 80? So let's go through and highlight. So my is 80, my of 75, and then what percent? That's what I don't know. So when I go to set this up, is 80 over the of part is 75. I don't know the percent, that's x, and I'm always going to have 100. So I go to set it up for my solving my proportion for my cross products. I get 75x equals 80 times 100 is 8,000. Divide both sides by 75 to solve for x. X is going to be equal to 106.66666. Just leave it at 6. And remember, they wanted to know the percent, so I better make sure my answer is a percent. So let's go to the next question. So where's my is? Right. Oh, actually, hold on. My is isn't here. I don't have an is. What is? So that means that's going to be x. My of, I do have a number. And my percent, they actually give me a percent. So this one's going to be a little different than the first two. So when I go to write it out, it says my is x. My of is 15, right? Because they asked what is, so that means x, and then my of is 15 equals, I do have a percent, 30 over 100. So I'm going to set this up. I get 100x equals 15 times 30. I got to do the math on that. I can't do that one in my head. I get 450. I divide both sides by 100 to solve, and I get x is equal to 4.5. This one I can actually leave as 4.5 because it's a number. 4.5 is 30% of 15. So it's not a percent, it's just a number. Okay, number 4, find 8.5% of 160. Find, what find really means is what is. That's what they're really saying when they say find. So that's where my is part is. So I'm missing the is. My of is 160 and my percent is 8.5. So when I go to set this up, is the x, that's what I'm finding, of is 160, equals 8.5 over 100. So when I go to set it up for my proportion, 100x equals 160 times 8.5. 100x is equal to 1360. I divide both sides by 100, and I get x is equal to 13.6. So 13.6 is 8.5% of 160. So number 5. So let's highlight our is. 28 is. My of is going to be x now. I don't know what of is. And 4%, I've got a number for the percent. So I'm going to set is over of on the left. So 28 is. Of is x because it's of what number? Equals 4 over 100 for the percent. When I solve this, 4x equals 2800. Divide both sides by 4. I get x is 700. So 28 is 4% of 700. Number 6, where's my is? Is 77.4. Of what number? That means I'm missing that part of the equation. And then I have 86 for my percent. So is over of 77.4 over x, because the of is x, equals 86 over 100. 86x equals 77.4 times 100, which is 7,740. Divide both sides by 86 to solve. I get x is equal to 90. So 86% of 90 is 77.4. Okay, number 7. Find. Remember, find is really saying what is. So what is 25% of 200? So is the x, of is 200, and I have a percent, 28.5. So is x, of is 200, and then my percent is 28.5 over 100. So set it up, 100x equals 28.5 times 200. That simplifies to be 100x equals 5,700. Divide both sides by 100. X is equal to 57. So 57 is 28.5% of 200. Okay, so let's look at the next one. Our is, 52 is, our of, 125. And now we're back to having a missing percent. So let's set this up. Is 52, of is 125, equals, because we don't know the percent, that's what we're missing, over 100. So when I set up my cross products, 125x equals 5,200. I can do that in my head. Divide both sides by 125. So x is equal to 41.6. But remember, they want the percent. I've got to have that label. Okay, number 9. 7 point. So let's get our highlighter out. What's the is? 21. The of is the missing number, and they gave us the percent of 7.5. So when I set it up, is 21, of is x, because that's what I don't know, and I have my percent, 7.5 over 100. So I set up my cross product, 7.5x equals 2100. Divide both sides by 7.5, and I get x is equal to 280, and that's just a number, so I can leave it like that. 7.5% of 280 is 21. Okay, last one on this page. So where's my is? What is? That means it's missing. My of is 80. My percent is 64. So I'm going to set this up. Is x. That's what I don't know. Of is 80. And then I know my percent is 64 over 100. So my cross product is 100x equals 64 times 80. I'm going to simplify that 64 times 80 to get 5120. Divide both sides by 100 to solve for x. x is equal to 51.2. So 51.2 is 64% of 80. So that is page 217. Let's take a look at the next page. We've got a couple more up here to finish. So I'm going to do the same process. I'm going to highlight my is, I'm going to highlight my of, and then it turns out the percent is what I'm missing. So my is on the top is going to be 0.5 over 3 equals x, because I don't know the percent, over 100. I'm going to go set this up to solve. 3x equals 0.5 times 100. So 3x is equal to 50. I'm going to divide both sides by 3 to solve, and I get x is equal to 16.6666. I'm just going to leave it as 6. And because they want to know what percent, I've got to make sure that I write it as a percent. And then number 12, let's look at this question. Is 103.2 is of what number? That means that's what I'm missing, and it's 48% is the percent. So let's set that up. 103.2 is the is on top. Of is the x, right? That's what I don't know. And then 48 over 100 is the percent. My cross products, 48x equals 10320. When I multiply 103.2 by 100, divide both sides by 48, and I get x is equal to 215. So 103.2 is 48% of 215, which kind of makes sense because 48% is almost 50%. So 103.2 is a little bit more than 100. Half of that, half of 200 is 100. So that's a good answer.